and we're recording as well, right? Meaning?
Possibly.
What? Yes. What? I
Recording? Are we?
was watching freezing. Let's click buttons.
Are we resetting our stats and stuff?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Just so you know, Off-Roaders is registered at Michigan, in Detroit, Michigan, which, so like that is where that YouTube video comes from.
Right.
Detroit, Michigan.
Click beep recording.
In
All
Detroit,
right.
Michigan,
So
which,
welcome to session
so,
28.
like, that is where
Let's start
that YouTube
by,
video comes from.
as ever, recapping
Right,
what
Michigan.
happened in the last one when you were going after the Titan.
Well,
So if you recall, you warped in, but you were way up in the sky because the
Yes.
mountain that they thought was there had actually been destroyed.
Yes, it's a bit problematic.
Did we make it stand up? I can't remember if that happened or if we were just thinking about it.
I
We,
think
we
just
did, in fact.
Oh, we got inside it and we were
we
wandering
did.
around and we found aliens
Mhm.
who were in pods and we woke them up and we made friends and some of us got surgery and
Yeah, I got kind of non-consensual surgery. Bean kind of Bean was able to figure out that it was going to be a surgical procedure done on me, and didn't share that information with me. So
Yeah,
Shaq
sorry.
has a neural shack in the back of his head now.
I apologise for not sharing it, but on the plus side, you do now have a cool robot.
Mm-hmm.
So indeed, you were able to get the cooperation of the frozen pilots, and they let Shaq drive as you went to the mountains. And you hit it down, crouching behind another mountain nearby, and you met up with all of the lovely war machines who had made their way there, along with the armed forces of the Safe Reaches. After that, you decided to go where?
Let's see.
I
We
think that was
decided
it,
to go
wasn't
back to the church, basically to have a final confab with them.
Exactly. You went back to the cathedral in Greatest Grandkirk, which is where you had met the assembly, or council of the church, who had sent you on this mission in the first place, and now you're basically doing your kind of debriefing / final briefing.
Okay.
So you warp into place in the warp pad in Greatest Grandkirk, which is not inside the cathedral, but some way outside it in the city. So last time you were greeted by a cheering crowd who had heard of your exploits. But at this point, the tone in the city is rather different, as they are clearly making the preparations for war. Most of these streets are fairly empty of civilian activity. You can see that a lot of houses have been taken over essentially by the army. Some of them even have their kind of roofs removed, or various kind of parts opened up so that they have access to the sky. You can see lots of figures scurrying around, setting up various equipment, stores of ammunition and supplies and things. Soldiers kind of billeted throughout the streets and running around. Lots of large machinery and pieces of equipment being transported around the place. Also, the city itself seems to have somewhat changed configuration, as you can see a lot more in the way of large walls with kind of fortifications and gun batteries and things installed on them, which have been erected or activated and things around the city. The cathedral itself, as you look up to the center of the city where it towers above, seems to have also changed. For a start, it has a lot more lights on, but also it had a rather closed, I guess you might say, kind of knife blade-like appearance before, but it now seems to have, the whole building seems to have physically opened up to expose various inner workings. At the top of it, you can see a bright, shimmering kind of light that is hovering there, and seems to be sending bolts of light, kind of laser-like light, down into the cathedral at fairly regular intervals. you get met by a liaison from the cathedral and escorted through the city towards it. Do you do or want to do anything in particular on the way to the cathedral?
I'm going to ask our liaison what the purpose is of this light that is pulsing above the city.
They say, let's see. All right, I'll maybe get a face for them in a bit. Let's say it is just a human, actually. It's actually just a fairly regular soldier. They seem to have, all of the more senior kind of staff and church people and so forth seem to be occupied with their tasks. He's this guy is young. He has seems to be something like a corporal. He has a couple of other soldiers with him. And as you ask that question, he looks up and just kind of shakes his head and mutters, I don't know, I've never seen anything like this from the church, but I think it's, actually I asked around about it and it seems to be something to do with the warp. I think that's, I don't know, that's how they do it or something. I guess that's what a warp looks like. Anyway, I don't know. We got to get in there fast because if you're going to get back in time, we got to hurry. So you got hurried through the streets and so forth. You do see civilians now and then. They kind of regard you with, depending on whether they recognize you, either some awe or just a kind of generalized sense of general panic as people seem not to be entirely sure what's going on. But you can hear, I guess, the equivalent of like police people running around kind of giving instruction to them to like batten down the hatches, get in their cellars if possible, and prepare for potential danger. So you get escorted through into the cathedral, which, let me see.
Shaq waves cheerfully and signs autographs for little children.
Naturally.
Very nice. So a couple of kids as you're going by a house, they basically jump out at you like ambush style, and they're like, "Rah! We're gonna get them!" But then
You got me good.
catch them on your big burly arms, and they like hang off of those. And then they get really shy and run away.
I actually drew my swords.
Nice. So you get taken through into the main cathedral area, which I'll move you to when Roll20 stops being a poo. There we go. So you get escorted through inside the cathedral. It is even more busy before, and when you came here before, you could see that a lot of these spaces, the ones that are not kind of explicitly set out as like meeting spaces or stuff like that, tends to have huge amounts of kind of machinery and equipment just exposed around the walls. There are many chambers which seem to serve a mechanical function more than a kind of civic one. And as you get hurried through the huge building, you can see that a lot of this machinery now seems to be active, bleeping and blooping and doing its mechanical stuff in some cases, as this place seems to be very much activated and ready for business. As before, you get taken through right into the central area where paradoxically you find several kind of open spaces that seem to be open to the sky, and areas of land around the place that seem like they couldn't actually fit inside the cathedral. And you get taken to a large central chamber, which is basically like the picture on the right. So it has many of these kind of doorways which open out into various different lands and spaces, which likewise could not exist within the cathedral. It is manned by many church guards, and you get met once again by the chair of the council, who is the very tall lady, and she greets you with a respectful bow and seems to be fully appraised of what you've got up to in the time that you were away from the cathedral, as she comments on your prowess basically, and gives very rather formal congratulations as she leads you through to. Let's see.
Does the robot with the bird for a head seem also happy with our progress? That is very important to me.
I should have covered them up because you haven't actually seen those people just yet.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But you'll be meeting them in a sec, so that's fine. Let me just see if I can find. Boo. Just got to unarchive some stuff. Where did I put the Pope?
That's a very important thing to misplace.
There we go. And are there any others that I need? I don't think so. All right, so you get shown through into the same area before, which is the meeting area of the council. There, in a large and peaceful grove, is the Pope, who once again has no words for you, but opens her eyes and you regarded with a very alluring and scintillating sight of a galaxy-like golden space within those eyes, and she looks like this.
Yes.
Ooh.
Settled in seats and various other convenient spaces in, like, essentially her arms, which are kind of spread out in a semicircle around her, are the rest of the council, who are the bods that you see below, i.e., the lower pictures, the bird head robot, etc. As you...
One of the spaces is missing. Uramov's brother's disappeared.
Indeed, you do not see the figure which you saw before, who looked a lot like Omov, and who, if you will recall, you briefly saw the visage of when you contacted Aku, aka now Proly, the extra-dimensional being from before.
Right.
As you enter the room, all of the council members are basically conferring with each other. A lot of them have kind of holographic displays open around them, and they're kind of passing information back and forth and coordinating various things.
Are we all here in person, sorry, or are any of them holographic projections themselves?
Let's say they all appear to be here in person.
Okay.
I kneel in fealty to the Pope. I get down on one knee and put my fist to my heart in order to show my loyalty to the church.
I give her a wave.
Oh, I just realised I have a plant in a jar that spawns a spontaneous plant. At the moment, it's got Bob in it. If I took a piece of the Pope, I could get an instant Pope. Probably not a great idea, but...
That smacks of heresy.
The old Pope clone.
Is that something that Fayen is going to actively pursue?
I'm tempted, but I don't. I mean, the Pope looks like quite a solid tree-like being.
True.
Do they have leaves that fall off occasionally?
Are you going to try and smoke the Pope?
You Pope smoker.
This being seems to basically be grown into this whole clearing. So the her head and the tree-like / hair-like area above does seem to occasionally shed kind of leaves and blossom and twigs and things. So they are. So they're littering the floor, and also just kind of basically her shoulders and arms kind of extend out into this space, and from there various tendrils and roots and branches and things kind of spread out a bit further as well. So basically you probably would have access to her body basically.
No, do it. We need a spare Pope so bad.
Try not to make this any creepier than it could be.
You should definitely smoke the Pope, because that's like big stats or something.
Yeah, well, I don't see anything that could possibly go wrong with this plan. Presumably we're all going to the clearing, can't we? Just sitting down and see petals and the leaves and just chilling,
so you're being
hands
brought into
resting
it.
on the ground, surreptitiously sliding a couple of petals away. I mean, assuming everyone's not like carefully taking away all these petals, treating with utmost religious importance, and we are not all going to be instantly killed for heresy.
You sit down on some leaves and surreptitiously clench your butt cheeks.
That's that's probably a bit too much. I wouldn't be able to clench him through the rug. That would be a bit too much.
That's true. That's a good point.
But I will try and just slip a few into my pocket. Ideally, when somebody else is talking and the conversation's not focused in our direction.
All right, let's say that you're going to try and wait for the opportune moment to do that. So let's come back to that in a second.
Okay.
Shaq has knelt in fealty and Nye has given a wave. Minim, what's your reaction upon entering this space again?
Literally nothing.
Fair enough. Okay, so you get escorted forwards, and as you actually come in close, the council members kind of finish up, or at least pause their business and turn to you. Several of them give you at least kind of nods of respect, and let's see. Actually, you know what? I think your old friend Jaina is, in fact, currently not here, I think.
Oh, no. What shall we do about Magic Brian?
The book guy walks forward and, let's see, he sits down in the lotus position so that his cloak covers up his legs, and it looks like he's just become shorter. And let's see.
He's probably able to steal all sorts of leaves.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea. I will make sure to kind of wrap my rug around me when I sit down. For later. Still not doing anything yet.
Just give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to mute my mic for a sec.
I apologize if this sidetracks us too much or gets us all killed at this point. I am very sorry. But
no, here's the thing. If we lose this fight, I want to have another pope, right? Like, if the aliens win, we need another pope.
This is kind of like stealing a human's baby and being like, well, just in case the human dies, we need like their exact duplicate.
No, this is like stealing a hair.
Yeah, this is like just cloning your very own pope to keep up. It's like a little pope in your pocket.
I mean, we definitely need a spare pope. Like, there's no question about it.
Do we still have access to my cloning tank?
No, I think we gave that to the your former tribe, didn't you? So that they could continue living through clones.
Oh yeah.
I think that is true. Yes.
We've definitely not been carrying it around with us.
For some reason, I thought your woman from the church who employed us originally still has. Oh well.
Oh,
it's the ninth world. We can definitely clone trees.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this jar is for, apparently.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to say actually, Nye, that I think it's better if you do still have the clone tank kicking around.
Well, that's ominous.
So you have it. I don't know. Maybe have a room assigned in. Actually, I think.
Yeah, we'd have a dormitory room here in the cathedral, right? Something like that.
You do have quarters here, but actually thinking about it, I think your clone tank is going to be down in Weshreth, the city where the pioneers are based. Because that is where you would have left it. So, I mean, you'd certainly have, in fact, with your status, you'd probably have at least like a small house or something there, probably even with a few servants or robots or something like that. And let's say that currently gathering dust in a corner in there, plugged in like a fridge, it's the cloning. So as I recall, it'll certainly have your pattern, and by extension, Tan Morn's and the other copy of you whose name I forget, and probably it has access to various other patterns that will have been used in the village. In any case, that is waiting for you down there if you were able to get to that. So the book guy sits down before you, and before saying anything, the books that are floating around him, several of them kind of fly around in front of him and flip through pages, and he reviews his knowledge of kind of what you've been up to lately and what you've achieved and so forth. And then he looks up and he says,
Nice work, boys.
And girls.
Shaq is thrilled.
He says,
This work of yours will certainly be recorded in the annals of the cathedral, so whatever happens in the next few days, well, you'll be remembered.
Hooray!
He's so
That's
casual.
positive.
Do you have to record every single thing?
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
This is magical.
What?
At the end, you certainly have been noteworthy recently.
What exactly have you written about us so far?
let's see. Okay, so he
Only good
says-
things.
Well, why don't you take a look?
and he with a slight shift of his robe, he sends the book. Actually, he selects one of the books and sends it basically kind of spinning slowly around the group so that you can all see it. Let's see. Well, yeah, I mean, there's just relatively straightforward records of your exploits. There's a picture of the valley that the Bellerophon was in, and there's like one kind of, I guess, older looking kind of historical photo that shows the floating temple above it. And then there's a newer pictogram that seems to have been taken after you visited, which is the same view, but now the temple is missing, and there's a red arrow pointing to it drawn onto the photograph with several exclamation points and question marks on it. Yeah, I won't go through the whole thing, but
Okay.
there's just a record of your exploits so far, recorded in. Well, let's see. Actually, I guess no. Probably there's going to be because as far as I know, you won't really have done like a full debriefing after every single mission that you've done. So they've just kind of gathered what they can. So some of it, let's say, is inaccurate or missing.
Okay, so to clarify, it doesn't sound like any of Thane's many fuck-ups over the past few
Oh,
months
they're
have been recorded. Oh, they are. Oh, bugger. Okay.
Oh, they were in there.
Oh, well.
He helpfully points out several times, but he said,
Well, all's well that ends well. It led to mostly good outcomes in the end, so,
he kind of shrugs his robe.
Okay. That's fine. I can live with that.
When they make the movie, they'll gloss over all that stuff anyway.
History will remember me as a much more elegant adventurer.
Only if we win.
He says,
Yes.
now.
and he let's see, he levitates a large scroll out of a big kind of, I guess you might say, quiver of them that are on his back, and rolls it out in the grass in front of you, kind of as opposed to the relatively sophisticated like holograms and stuff that have been used before. However, this map shows the whole area around the kind of mountain range and so forth. It shows the location of the Titan and the various kind of forces that are positioned around the place. And he says,
Now that you've assembled these assets for us, do you have any thoughts on their deployment that you might have picked up during your time interacting with them? Any qualities that might have gone unnoticed in our records?
Sorry, you're quite quiet when you speak through that voice. I'm going to need that again.
he's basically asking if you have any thoughts. I'll turn up the volume on a sec. If you have any thoughts on like the assets that you've taken, the best ways that they
right, yes, of course.
used, and any way that ties into what you yourselves have learned about the Marauder fleet, the alien invaders.
Personally, it sounds like our best plan is to kind of center things around the mountain barrage, just because that's the most powerful thing, and if we can keep them at that line, then he can't really get to any civilized area without being blown to bits.
Yeah.
We've kind of set up a strong ambush around that point, including like a fake out help signal. And we've got the Titan there, and we've got our war machines there. I think that we're just going to spring a strong ambush right there, and I'm going to slam them and jam them. But I don't know anything about the Marauders. What do you guys know about the Marauders?
They're very big, very big, like ginormous.
So
Like
one thing
shack-sized or bigger?
bigger.
Well, one thing you'll have noticed while you were aboard the ship and so forth is they seem to have several different kinds of like aliens and different kinds of beings under their command, and have a rather complicated kind of multi-species like command structure, I guess you might say, a bit like the aliens in XCOM. You might liken them to, but.
Those are bad aliens, man.
Yeah. So, in just to recap, like the ship that you were inside, which you now know to have been a scout ship that was on the relatively small and simpler side for the size for the fleet, who have like a good variety of war equipment. They being war makers after all. But this ship that you were in, it had kind of interdimensional qualities. It seemed to have 2 different phases inside it, and also to have a link to a ship or some kind of location up in space. It was captained by a big blue-looking guy who I guess is a bit like the ship's captain in gosh, what am I thinking of? Disney film with the cute blue alien.
Stitch, Lilo and Stitch.
Oh yeah, Lilo and Stitch, like the big shark-like alien captain type thingy. He was the one who was in kind of control of the ship, but it was being commanded by Zolokoth, who was a big, bad-looking guy. Yeah, he was a real dick. And
I mean, with a name like Zolokoth, what else can he be?
Yeah, screw that guy.
Sounds like that guy was a real asshole.
Trust me, he
was the worst.
He was a very high power level, but you don't know necessarily too much about the greater command structure, other than that it exists and tried to get in touch with the ship. So yeah, those are some things that you know about the Marauder fleet.
Ooh, did they find out anything else about the ship? Namely, if they are the weird multi-dimensional thing inside it, and if there's any way to link them up to any other ships or locations?
Yes, we've been studying the ship that you so kindly brought back to us.
And he brings up a, I guess this time he actually, he kind of shrugs his shoulder, and it looks like a scrumpled up piece of paper basically emerges from his scroll quiver and floats in front of you, and then it basically kind of unfolds itself into a perfect replica of the ship that you saw, and then unfolds further to reveal the inside of it. And a large kind of feathery quill, it's very large and kind of brightly colored, also floats out and starts pointing out various places on the ship. And it explains...
Basically, there's a link between the opposite... wait, let me go back a second. Each section of this ship exists on a slightly different plane. When the ship is whole and operating, they are all linked together and can be accessed in various ways. You saw 2 different bases, but it turns out there are several more of them folded in on each other like a puzzle box. But I won't bore you with the details. Suffice to say, the top level is connected to base stations in orbit. We have managed to sortie, various forces of ours up there, and we knocked some of those out, but that is only going to slightly hamper them. Essentially, the ship that we have, the relay that it links to has been knocked out, but we're working on rerouting it to another one if possible. That may happen at some point during the battle.
Okay.
So, yeah, they kind of go over various other aspects of the plan that you worked out, and he says,
now that you have proven yourselves the full bounty of the church and our technology have been authorized to be put to your disposal, we're going to get you as close as we can to everything you need to make sure that you can turn the tide of this battle and ensure victory in it.
So with that, let's see what we'll do first. So he looks at Fayan, and his eyes kind of go upwards a little bit, like his little creepy black eyes inside his, glowing eyes inside the black confines of his hood. He seems to be kind of grinning at you, and he says,
"You certainly showed us a masterclass in practical indulgence."
Well, I wouldn't like to brag, but
he says,
"Well, we're hoping that you'll be able to show us a little more. We have something tucked away, which has, by the great and legendary Partia, get the main the great and legendary party animal Jifra Civ. He tucked it away and described it as being for a special occasion, but we've not been able to make heads or tails of it.
And a procession of let's see. I think this is a like a small subsect of the church, like a very niche order, which is apparently set up specifically to archive and like maintain certain items that were left behind by the legendary party animal Jifra Civ. And they're all dressed in kind of strange, colorful outfits. They're all wearing kind of gaudy shorts that have like all kinds of like little files and little bottles and jars and things kind of clinking tied to those. They have bright and colorful, I guess, stockings basically that are like multicolored kind of checkered patterns, and they have white wooden clogs with like colorful bows and ribbons on them. And let's see, they're wearing very broad brimmed hats and also basically sunglasses.
Indoors.
So wait, was this Geordie Shore or Geordie Shorts?
Jeffrey Civ was his name, and they all seem to be incredibly intoxicated, red-eyed and red-eyed and slightly wobbly in their gait, and they go over.
Yes, Blaze Masters. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, yes. Their title is. One of them says, "This is." Hold on. Name generator, come to the rescue. This is Blaze Master Varley, and we have something special for you, Fayen.
Well, sounds like my time to shine has arrived.
Truly proving yourself worthy. And they're carrying with them a can't remember quite what they're called. Kind of like an ark, basically. Like it's a big chest that has poles on it for carrying, and they set this down in front of you, and they let's see. Okay, yeah. So adorned around this box is a variety of kind of motifs, and I guess like mechanical locks, basically, are around it, and the Blaze Masters settle themselves down around it, and they basically they hold up their arms, and you can see that they have a large variety of tattoos which are laid out over their kind of arms and in fact much of the rest of their body. And they start reading their tattoos and
Very interesting voice you have.
And keying things into the locks based on that. They get to a certain stage, and then the whole box kind of clicks and thumps, and then they look at each other and they say, "All right, boys, time to take it to the next level." And they take a little. They each take a small vial of blue powder, open it, and snort the contents. They kind of reel back in their seats for a moment, and their eyes, like, I guess, kind of roll back in their head for a bit, and their kind of teeth kind of grind. And then they're like, "Whew, all right, good to go." And then they start working on a different set of locks on the box, as they seem to have now well, it looks like they've basically, through this holy ingestion, managed to acquire the faculty required to open the rest of the locks on the box. Once they do that and the lid of the box opens, you are, it's like, let's see. Okay, inside is a bunch of like empty crushed up cans and like cigarette butts and stuff arrayed over a crushed velvet kind of frame, inside of which is a metallic box. That's right. A metallic box which looks like, let me just make a handout. Just uploading a Pikachu. There we go, and it looks like this.
Nothing bad could possibly happen with this.
Oh my god, that name. Magnificent.
Box Supreme.
I didn't notice the name. That's awesome.
It's god tier.
This is V1. Is this box inside the things they've opened, or is this actually the box that they've just opened?
No. So this was inside the box that they have opened.
So do I need to now open this box, the inner box?
They carefully take the box out, and as they move it, it kind of very slightly kind of rattles, as if it's filled with a great deal of kind of very complicated like machinery and gears and stuff, and also probably a whole bunch of drugs rattling about inside. But I guess that will be revealed. But they set it down in front of you, and they say, "As we have done, now you must do, but on a whole other level."
Okay.
So
Well,
you look at the box, and as you can kind of see, but possibly even to a greater extent than in this picture, there are very complicated designs which are all made up of like basically it looks like every single part of this box that you can touch can be like moved and kind of manipulated, and well, yeah, done with that so that you can somehow unlock it.
okay.
So I guess, well, yeah, this is a puzzle you have to solve. So I guess probably the first thing to do would just be to inspect it and do a intellect roll to see what you can pick up about it.
Okay. First thing I want to do then, is just check if he designs, if there's anything that's written down, or is it all just diagrams and intricate designs? None of it's supposed to be instructions in a strange language.
Well, there are many parts of it that are inscribed with various mysterious symbols and kind of diagrams and things like that. Some of it seems to possibly be some kind of language, but a lot of it seems to be glyphs that are basically like, think an IQ test, but on speed.
Okay.
Drugs are always good for IQ tests.
Yeah. As you look at it, it just looks like a very difficult puzzle. So you can try and make me. Let's see. Actually, no. You know what? So basically, you could theoretically try to make a. In fact, yeah. Go ahead and make me a intellect roll without a set difficulty.
How long do I have to work on this?
In general, you have something like a few hours, but
Right.
yeah.
I'll take a look at it now, but if I spend an hour resting, I can shift around my drugs to make me significantly better at some tasks.
Okay,
such as, this
I
one.
can shift around my drugs.
Yes, I can. Instead of ignoring any unwanted conditions or broken bones and such, I can just become super smart and specialize in one sphere of knowledge, such as puzzles.
Very nice. So I want to go ahead and do this anyway. Just go ahead and give me that intellect roll.
Yep. Okay. Intellect. I'm sorry. I have several PDFs open now, so let me just find this. Okay. Intellect. I don't have any skills associated with this. Would it count as Numenera?
It would count as Numenera, yes.
Okay. Apparently my flex skill said I'm specialised in that, so I'll just leave it as.
Actually, sorry. Actually, I'm going to take that back.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. I'll let you include Numenera on this one because this is also just kind of a general examination of the thing.
Okay.
But first, basically, Numenera won't count towards puzzle solving.
Okay. So I'll put specialised for this one then.
Yeah.
2 levels of effort for now, and you want me to set no difficulty.
Yes.
Okay. I don't get any assets, and Nye hasn't done anything cool yet, so I can't get a +1.
No.
If Nye could dance around in the background and do some sort of dance, that might help, but I probably wouldn't.
I will do a little breakdance type move.
There we go. I feel more inspired now. That's a sure.
It completely fails to provide any help in analysing this box.
Okay. Oh well. Okay, I'll give that a go then. Let me just click in something else. So it's
just so that Nye isn't lonely. Shaq will breakdance with her.
that's not terrible.
Nice. No, that is a very respectable role. So with this, so basically, you're completely unable to, you pore over the designs and try and figure out some kind of pattern, some kind of way forward to start working on this puzzle. But you find that you are completely unable to. However, because of your high roll, you also notice that, first of all, you're not able to pick up any kind of particular energy signal or anything like that, or any signs of like electrical activity, I guess you would say, from this device or any other kind of signal. The workings of the box seem to be purely mechanical, but incredibly intricate and finely balanced, so that a very complicated mechanism can be activated and moved with the slightest push of one component on the box. Do you try and physically start manipulating the puzzle and pushing things around?
I will. I don't know if I have any. If my mechanics skill would help in this. I think that's more engine mechanics and computer mechanics, but
yeah, I think this is like this. Essentially, what you glean from this is that the box is set up purely as a puzzle rather than being more of a obstacle for you to get through, if that makes sense. You get the impression that if you were to, in fact, I'll give this to you as well. You know that if you start just pushing things and prodding things willy-nilly, it's very likely that you're going to put this in a configuration where you're not going to be able to easily get back to the starting one, and that you're pretty sure that the starting configuration contains a lot of information that you're going to need to solve this thing.
Then I shall not start manipulating things. I will study it very carefully, try and understand it.
That's very un-Faian of you, it seems. I don't know.
It is. But I'm wanting to spend. So I'm thinking if I spend about an hour studying it and shift things around, then at least when I start poking and prodding things, I won't completely screw things up.
I like that you are taking drugs seriously.
Yeah,
it's the one thing you're taking seriously.
This apparently promises a high of all highs. This is serious business. This is the most serious Fane's been about something. The entire series of sessions we've been doing.
I love it.
Do you do anything else to prepare you for the task of solving this puzzle, besides just looking at it?
I will mix up some of my special drugs to make sure that my alertness is at an all-time high. I'm purely focused. I'd like to think something like I did for Urumov, only less distracting. I keep calling it Urumov. It's Umov, isn't it?
I think it was Umov, yes.
Umov.
No, it was Omov.
Omov. I'm glad his brother's not here. He'd probably be really insulted if I get his names wrong. But maybe it's not quite that bad. But I'm trying to actually not make make something to give me some sort of sentient abilities. It won't work, but
I'd like you to make me a. Let's see. Actually, make me another intellect roll with no set difficulty, I think. And this is going to be to brew up a special brew that will is specifically tailored to increase your cognitive speed and abilities and puzzle solving.
Okay.
Yeah. Chops.
Yep, I won't have my. This will probably be done within that hour, so I won't have anything shifted around yet. Okay, I'll put 3.
Well, no. Let's say that this is something you undertake over the course of that hour. So, like,
okay.
whatever mechanics you need to use to do this. Basically, I want your most potent brain drug.
Okay.
Thayan can possibly produce.
I'm shifting my tier 5 ability for Triumph from Alchemy of Sense into Genius, which I can do after 1 hour of resting. It says after a 1 hour rest, or 10-hour one, but I'm assuming it just means rest for an hour. I'm not actually going to use a recovery roll on it though. Okay, so that just means I get 5 additional intellect points and I become specialised in 1 sphere of knowledge. That sphere of knowledge will be puzzles, if that's okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's up to 32 intellect points. Bloody hell. Okay, yeah. Very more potent. Do I go to 4 intellect, 4 effort? Yeah, what the hell? I'll go to 4 effort, and I'm specialised. What
Very
could possibly go wrong with this?
Skaboom!
That's
Nice.
not bad. That's not bad.
27. That is not. Not only is that not bad, that is a truly superhuman feat of chemical manufacturing. You probably take several supplementary doses just to increase your brewing abilities as you feverishly work on your own personal supplies in your little personal laboratory, and of course, any necessary equipment and ingredients and so forth.
I do actually
bought by the church.
I had a portable biolab. Was I supposed to use that in this as well? I can't remember.
Sure. What would that do? Give you an asset?
I can't remember. Glass is broken. A lab produced item available to use. Create anything. Common options include. Oh, right. This does not look appropriate to this, actually.
If you can make a drug that makes you cleverer, then surely once you've taken the drug that makes you cleverer, you can make a drug that makes you even more clever.
That is literally the plot to Limitless.
It sounds like
the plot to that movie.
This sounds like that this bug in Morrowind where you actually create a potion to increase your intelligence, and when you've got super intelligence, you create an even more potent potion.
Well, it's funny you should.
More and more.
Funny you should bring that up. So, first of all,
this concoction, by the way, because I want to use some of these items. I do actually have half a pocket full of Russell still. If I've still got any of his leaves, they did have quite dramatic effects. I will probably add those into the mixture. My remaining 2 special drug doses, and I don't think I can actually use this, but I noticed I still have a sparkling thing that I stole from Umov after he kicked over his chessboard in a very angry gesture. I don't know what exactly that is, or if it's even edible. But if it is, I want to add it to it.
Let's say this is like a kind of a bit like a small Christmas decoration. It's like a bauble that's kind of covered in like glittery metallic stuff, but you can.
It's edible if you're not a coward.
You can easily grind it up into a powder and throw that into the mix.
I think I'll save that for later.
All right, so so you brew up this potion. Quickly describe for me what form it takes, what it looks like when you take it, and what happens immediately afterwards.
Okay, well, while everyone else has gone for kind of a fancy Smurf-like blue powder, I just thought I'm not going to be outdone by that. So I'm going to make this a bright, luminous blue, a bright fluorescent. So
nice!
Shine,
it's glowing,
like a mini
nice.
Party. Yes. And so you have smoke pouring off it, which is just a bit of a dry ice I've just mixed in for the flavour. And it just looks like, what the hell have you created? No way in hell am I drinking it. I just raise it above for everybody to see my prowess and just drink it straight down. And yes, I imagine there'll be a few side effects there, but I'm sure it'll be mostly cosmetic.
Are you wearing the shirt that reveals your inside?
Oh, yes, I am. Yes, of course, I didn't think of that. So you see the potion coursing through my body as all of my internal organs start shining with a bright blue light, and the smoke starts pouring out of my ears and nostrils, and it's all very dramatic.
All right.
That happens for a few seconds before I dive onto this puzzle and try to solve it with utmost gusto.
All right. Okay, so let me just quickly do a bit of maths. I'm not going to make you do actual puzzles because...
Oh, I like puzzles. That would take a long time, presumably.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just not very good at coming up with puzzles, really. But all right, so let's see. Okay, so having taken that, you now examine the box, and it now almost looks completely different to you. What appeared before as just almost completely incomprehensible, kind of prettily patterned, but with no discernible kind of order or method to them. You can now see on exactly one side of the box, it suddenly makes complete sense to you how this thing is laid out. And you are able to realize that, let's say you're looking at the one which is in the picture, it's on the kind of top left. You're able to see that you can start kind of threading the loops at each corner around. That in turn affects what is shown on the strip around the outside. And with that, you're basically able to, once you've manipulated it through a few turns, which make complete sense to you, you're able to use that as a key with which to navigate the series of marked buttons that have to be pushed on the square bit. Suffice to say, after a bit of manipulation with this thing, you manage to crack open that side, and from the middle out pops a small drawer within which is a pill.
I will take the pill, as in I will pick it up, not down. Let's save that for a few minutes.
Okay.
Take the pill
verb.
and just hold it aloft.
Okay, and let's see. Hold on 3 seconds. Okay, so cut this slightly short. So basically, with the initial dose that you took, you're also able to unlock 2 other sides of it.
Oh.
So basically having solved the first side, it kind of taught you certain things about how the logic of the puzzles work. And then when you look at the next side, although it's very different, there's a couple of principles that you're able to take over from the first one, which enable you to kind of get started on the second one. And with the sheer supercomputer-like acumen that your brain is currently running at in its basically massively overclocked state, you're also able to open up these 2 other sides in succession. However, once you get to the third side, you find that it has a completely different schema on how it is laid out.
Sounds like I need to do another bunch of practice puzzles before I can dive into this one.
Of course, with each of the other 2 sides, you also get a new pill. They all appear identical. They are unmarked. If you wanted to, you could try to analyze them.
With my alchemical ability and heightened levels of knowledge, would I be able to tell without taking one or grinding one up?
Let's say you can flake a little bit off if you choose to do so and kind of try and test that.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Please enjoy mystery drugs responsibly.
When you do that, let's see. Okay, give me another intellect roll. Difficulty, let's see. Okay, so analyzing the first pill is going to be difficulty 9.
Okay.
However, so basically, let's see, you've already given yourself specialization in puzzle solving, is that right?
Yeah, I do have specialization in alchemy, but my puzzle solving one is a whole separate thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'm going to say basically you have... it's annoying it doesn't give... Okay, so it would be level 9, but actually because of the first dose that you made, this is going to be actually a level 6, plus whatever specializations and so forth you have.
Okay, so level 6. What is that achievable normally?
That's 18, yes, that's an 18.
18, so I'd need to get 12 more. I'll put 2 levels of effort in as well.
All right.
Okay, let's give it a go. Yes.
Nice. Grand. Okay, so you yeah, I don't know. Let's say in order to try and not disturb the integrity of the pill, you basically put together like a little custom strip of essentially litmus paper. You just kind of brush across it, and it comes up in stripes to kind of show you what is inside the pill. All you can detect in it are what appear to be, at least according to your test, highly caustic chemicals mixed with a mixed with a collection of genetic material.
Okay. So basically, it burns and has DNA mixed in with it.
Yes.
Would I
like the
have
remains
any
of the-
idea if I've seen any drugs like this before? Because it sounds a bit more like a poison than a drug.
Let's see.
And your typical, well, more poisons than your normal drugs are.
Yeah, so it's not unknown to especially the very poorer echelons of like drug takers in this world to basically take kind of stuff whatever like powdery stuff they find in their noses, and kind of like the equivalent of like huffing like glue or inhalants or whatever. There are certain chemicals which are basically just dangerous and caustic, but they kind of give you a buzz just through the mechanism of like wrecking your synapses. That's the only thing that you've really seen that has a makeup, similar to this, and yet that is certainly not the grade of drug that you would expect to find in such a device as this.
Yeah, this one sounds a bit more dangerous than the usual drugs to have. So, okay.
What about the genetic material inside it? That's
that's unusual.
Let's see. You don't really have the capability to do like a full DNA sequencing or whatever on it,
No,
but
that's
you
a bit
are
much.
able to tell that it seems to be a mix of materials rather than just like one single type of
Okay.
DNA, I guess.
Do the others seem to be the same?
As far as you can tell, all of the pills are identical.
Okay, did I get 2 pills or 3 pills?
3 in total.
3 pills, okay.
Could these like be the remnants of the ultimate party animal?
They could be. Maybe this is in fact his spirit.
Maybe he sneezed on it.
Drug form.
Are you going to snort his ashes?
Oh God, I'm going to be doing it, aren't I? I'm actually snorting his burnt ashes. Oh dear.
And someday someone will do the same to yours.
Yeah,
They probably will.
Beautiful. That's
Your
the circle
potent,
of life.
Potent ashes.
circle of party
Somebody
life.
want a pill full of pain.
So do you intend to take one or more of these pills?
I will look at the Blaze Masters and see what their reaction is to me being able to open this puzzle box.
They're like basically staring at you and salivating, and they're like, "Man, that looks totally sweet."
Okay. Well, I know. Well, I don't want to disappoint my audience. I will down the pill. Just one of them.
As you look at it, they're like, "Do it, do it, do it, glug, 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 glug." But in like, let's say they're, I don't know, like they're kind of chanting it basically rather than just like whooping it. So, okay, so
Somewhere the
are you
ghost
taking...
of Ronald Reagan weeps.
So sorry, are you taking like one or?
I'm going to
one or
take
3 or...
one for now, see what effects are. Because I may want to save the others for later.
All right, so Fayan pops the pill, and almost immediately afterwards, suddenly stands up incredibly straight, as if you're going into, like a seizure, I guess, kind of, or like, or maybe rigor mortis. But you stand straight up, and your head snaps back, and your eyes snap open, and you just start staring straight up into the sky. With that, let's let's go to what the others have been doing in the meantime, since this has been taking Fayan quite a while. Actually, no. Let's wait a bit to take our break. Let's see. Does anyone particularly want to do their thing next?
Not especially. Whoever you fancy.
Let's
I think Nye and I have been breakdancing, so I think Minim is probably up next. We're just kind of continually breakdancing, and
unless our thing involves breakdancing, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what were you saying, Minute?
No, just that. I'll jump in when there seems to be an appropriate opportunity, but right now this is kind of like Fayan's deal.
Yeah. Let's see. Actually, yeah, let's just continue with Fayan's.
It's Fayan's time to shine, both literally and figuratively.
All right, so you just take this drug, and the others see you basically straighten up and stiffen up and stare up into the sky. What you experience is that as soon as you've swallowed it, and as soon as it's, I guess, kind of made contact with like your mucous membranes, time appears to stop, and everything around you has a kind of It's kind of like when a VHS video is paused, I guess you might say. It has a like slightly juddering kind of cloudy quality as it kind of slightly shivers back and forth between two slightly separate instances of time. And everything takes on a kind of floaty and kind of glowy appearance. Let's see.
Can I still move during all of this?
To you at this moment, movement is besides the point, but you are able to perceive everything around you, even things that are behind you. You look around you at this scene, and you see. So just as when you initially got the hang of the first side of the puzzle box, and also when you used the lessons from that first side to solve the second and third sides, that element of like being able to recognize and understand a pattern and then apply it to what you see suddenly is the case for the entire scene around you. So you see kind of the body of the Pope laid out around you, and the way that the council members are kind of arranged and sitting, and the your other party members here as well. Everything about the way that they're arranged seems to it's as if they were arranged into a painting by someone who wanted to demonstrate kind of a like a Renaissance painting, kind of a particular layout of like perspectives and patterns and ratios and numbers through that. So you experience all of that, and it gives you a sense of a unifying order to everything that you've suddenly been able to understand. While you also get the impression that there are further levels of understanding that you have not yet reached. However, when you look at the let's see, when you look at the box. Take one. You turn it around, and so you see that obviously 3 of them are unlocked. 2 of them, even with this enhanced state of understanding, you are still not able to understand. But on one of the sides, it now becomes clear to you how to unlock and open it. Let's see.
So, the different pills, I'm wondering if each one's like leveling up as such. So like the first one has this effect, the second one will have an even more potent effect. So I might still be able to keep on scaling up.
Indeed, that would be a valid conclusion to come to. So
this is going to be like some sort of Rock Lee situation where it's like, how many of the chakra gates must I open? I'm sorry, I've only seen old anime, no new animes. I'm sure there's a more recent reference.
You've watched the best anime.
I have no idea what anime that is.
I last watched it in 2005.
Early Naruto is
time.
Best anime.
Okay.
Okay, so I know what it is. So you're kind of sitting down on the floor, basically, and the box is in front of you. And you look down and see that the other 2 pills, the ones that you have not taken yet, are on the palms of your hands. Let's see. I guess basically, do you feel a desire, or are you wanting to, at this stage, take the other 2 pills?
Well, I think at this point it depends how much of a high am I getting from this one. Is my buzz starting to wane a little?
Absolutely not.
Could I? Then I will hold off for now, just enjoy it. And when it starts to dip a little bit, next pill's going straight in. But for now, if it is possible to move and solve the fourth side, I think it is, I'll do that one, just so I've got another pill in my pocket.
Well, that's the thing. Let's see.
Oh, can I not move at this point? Is it more just...
No, you're essentially frozen in place. You have these pills in your hands. But somehow to you, you know that even in this moment, you could take one or both of these pills if you wanted to.
Right, but I can't do anything else. Well,
no.
In that case, I will take one more pill.
All right. As soon as you do that and you look back down at the box, another of the sides is now... Well, let's see. In fact, yeah, you look at this box and you realize that despite, it being in front of you, you can only actually physically see 3 of the sides, you can also see the other 3 sides. You can't see them through the box, you can't see them on the sides of the box, but you can see them.
Picasso
that makes complete sense. Yep. Okay.
And now that you've taken one of the other... Oh, sorry. When I say, you decide or you will that you want to take the other pill, and you just see it basically melt into your palm.
Ooh, I like that. That is a very good drug.
Once again, like you get kind of... Let's see. Let's put it this way. You were seeing the world before you took the first dose, and it was as if you'd put like a transparent sheet in, between you and everything that had like markings laid out on it in order that you could kind of assess it with regards to this pattern. And now when you take the second pill, it's like another of these sheets gets overlaid on front of the first, which not only adds more patterns and understandings, it also helps you to understand the first set of understandings, and basically you're well off your gourd at this point, because your understanding of reality is completely separate from how it normally is. Everything is now seen within the context of these now 2 patterns, and with the help of that, you're now able to understand all but one of these sides of the box.
Then I think Thayan must swallow the third pill.
Indeed, or rather you...
absorb the third pill, rather.
You turn your attention to it, and in this case, you don't even see it melt into your palm, it just disappears. And all of a sudden, a third layer of understanding is added onto you, at which point you experience a sudden, very painful and unpleasant jolt, and you find yourself kind of slumping somewhat as you're stood straight up and looking up at the sky, and you kind of blink, and this perception that you picked up persists. You're now able to move and basically, long story short, unlock the remaining 3 sides of the box. When you do that, each side likewise opens up a little drawer. Each one has a pill inside, but each of these is red.
Okay. If you say I'm able to move around, but nobody else is able to see me, their eyes are not following me?
That was the case before, in that moment where you were under the influence of the pills, and then you upped that to the full 3 doses. It has now... the physical... rather the time-stopping effect of that has now instantly worn off. So you are now able to move. However, every time you try and do that, let's say you try and, I don't know, move your hand forward or something, you see the effect when... I can't remember what it's called, but when you have film where the after image of each frame doesn't disappear. Does that make sense? So you see each frame getting laid out, like that zoetrope of the horse running, stuff like that. Yeah, in fact, let's say reality becomes zoetropalized, as when you push your hand forward, you see these, like the opposite of after images. You see like pre-images, I guess you might say, looping out in front, or stretching out in front of your hand. And rather than being just a single path, it's kind of a expanding, outwardly branching path that then fades out as you're basically able to see all the possibilities of where your hand might be going as you move it. And as you look around and see anything that's moving, you see the same effect is applied to anything that you look at, basically. With that, well, normally this would be completely debilitating to most people. Because of the effects of the pills, you are at least hopefully able to deal with it. But give me a... Let's see. So this is like slightly, I don't know, abstract or mechanical, I guess you might say. But give me... it's essentially like a... Kind of imagine it as like a difficulty 20 task that, because of your current state, is reduced down to... 12, taking 3, so it goes down to difficulty 8 to try and maintain your sanity and cohesion in the face of this altering of reality.
Right. I don't know what skill that would fall under, but Fayin is definitely very skilled when it comes to taking drugs.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I don't know if it's be alchemy or finding drugs or something, but how would you want to
yeah,
play
either
that?
of those. Like, let's call it alchemy, and that includes like your tolerance and stuff like that.
Okay, and I'll put 2 points of effort into it. Specialized, it's difficulty 4. Ooh, that might still be okay. 3 points of effort because I'd like to maintain some semblance of sanity. Let's give it a go. Oh, clicking in another box. There we go.
Oh gosh.
Oh well.
So you well, you have no idea that this has happened, but you have gone insane. But you are still able to you still have the effect, basically. You still have the enhancement, and you still have this strange, almost precognitive ability. It's just that you've at least temporarily lost the ability to relate that to the real world and the events and priorities happening within it. What you do very much still see and be aware of and see the significance of is the 3 red pills in your hands.
What is the significance of the 3 red pills?
They're really powerful drugs.
Are you gonna? Is it gonna convert you into an MRA?
MRA. MRA. Oh,
Right
geez.
back to this
Joe,
red
no,
pill.
no, no.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, 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 no. Those are bad
Dina
drugs.
purged that from his mind.
Yeah. After this seems to have settled down, Fayin is going to fall backwards and convulse a bit and just play as if he's just having some sort of small seizure, gripping his hands tightly, and just to grab a few of the petals for later. I think his insanity is thinking, I still wanted the petals. So, yes, and then you'll settle down.
Alright, I'm gonna...
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the petals, but what I'm gonna say is, for now... And you've got the pills, of course, but I'm going to say, other than that, for now, you've basically gone into, like, a drug fugue.
Okay.
You're, like, laid back on the grass and, I guess, just kind of twitching slightly and babbling completely incomprehensible but seemingly incredibly meaningful things.
Pain will think that was entirely intentional and definitely not a side effect of these drugs, because that's totally what he meant to do.
All right, so you have been rendered into that state, but you have taken control of the contents of the puzzle box. With that, let's go to a break for 10 minutes.
Right.
Okay, beverage up.
Pausing the stream.
Yes.